more 80 carries out here. So far, only the Ezreal. You gotta always take that away from Viper. IP are gonna have the opportunity to pick first here. We'll see what they want to end up doing. Remember that Karma is a champion that was absent from the first pick and ban. But as the series goes on, I imagine there could be potential for it to come back. Especially a Caitlyn Karma lane. The standard has been very, very difficult to deal with.
I mean, the fact that BLG didn't take the Karma when given the opportunity in Game 1 is quite indicative. NIP, before this series started, had Karma banned, or banned Karma 11 out of 12 games, and it just sunk through draft in the last one. That happened again in Game 1, and there's a very good chance it happens again here, as I really like this LeBlanc ban, because the Aurora Knight got a good performance off, but wasn't able to push it home. The LeBlanc, definitely something that could have made it even more difficult for NIP, so taking that playmaking away from the star player of BLG immediately.
I saw a Lucian lock-in, and then I saw a Victor hover, and I had flashbacks. But the lock-in is going to be Jace and Nami on the other side, so expect a potential Corki to come in. There are some other Nami pairings that you could play. I think Nami Caitlyn's a little underrated, but the Melio should be the lock-in here for NIP. And again, you are just giving more resources for Assum to do his thing and be the carry you need him to be to get you a dub.
I think that we're kind of waiting here in the draft because they're just figuring out, do we slam jungle here or do we get Hoya counterpick before the two lock-ins? Because you know for BLG, if they don't pick Corki here, it's getting a bit suspect. So by picking jungle here, you now have an area for NIP to ban out some more of those high priority champions. The Zinzal's still on the table. That Pantheon is one that, while the Nocturne answers quite nicely with the counter global, it is still something that you could just take away the double high prio picks, as so far, BLG have drafted two pretty strong AD threats. Let's see if they repeat the mistake of the last game and only have the single AP threat in the mid lane, or if they can make this a bit more of a balanced damage graph.
Remember, we mentioned at the pregame that Nocturne has been problematic for BLG to deal with. It throws off the communications, throws off the timing that has already been off. We didn't really see too many timing gaffes in the last game, so credit to BLG for that, but those could crop up again. NIP, I think, right now, they just need to think of an answer to this Jace, right? Because you're giving Bin some priority here. You're giving him a champion that he should theoretically have a good lane, and you need to be able to shut him down. But Nocturne is that champion that wants to farm till 6, much like Vi. I'm not sure he's going to be able to do the same thing that he did in Game 1 and get off a level 3 gank that actually results in a kill.
So I'm just wondering, what is Hoya cooking in the top lane? Because with the Sarn gone, that's why the S tier tank's off the table. I would be really surprised to see a Cassante pulled out at this point in the draft. I don't think that would work very well. Ornn is on the table, and something I don't think I would dislike. Very good with the Nocturne, turning out the lights, and then a Ram appears behind you, what you do. So let's see where BLG decide. Presumably to just take a jungle answer at this point, I have to say, with a bit of hesitancy. Go on.
I don't know who that fan was, but he might be onto something. He said 2-0 and IP over BLG. And after that first game, that guy's looking down at a sign like, can I see the future?
It worked.
That guy could get me the lottery numbers. I'd be very appreciative. Xin Zhao's a champion that has not been present in the first game, which is a big surprise. The hover coming through here. The champion is strong. You don't necessarily need Ashe Seraphine to be able to enable this champion. That's going to be BLG's lock-in for sure.
And you have an Enchanter at bare minimum. Nami, not the best one to pair with the Jhin, but it gets the job done at the end of the day. You can still facilitate and keep him kind of just right-clicking forwards, which does mean that Assum needs to be really on his A game. He was playing incredibly, earned that MVP for the first time around, and we will have care. Just slamming the Annie lock-in here does have the same effect to be able to jump you from fog, and this, not exactly the Ornn, but very similar functionality, something we have seen from Hoya already this split. I do quite like it as a disengage option. Where does Knight round out the draft? Don't do it.
Knight Azir would make a lot of sense here, though. It would make the game so hard for Assum to play, because you just get outranged by, Jace Shock Blast and Azir, but he's going to go and lock in this Akali. There are targets that you can kill. Pretty much anybody. If Nocturne is not able to spell shield one of your abilities because it's on cooldown, you can kill this Nocturne. The only one that I don't think you're killing is Hoya. So this is a pick that Knight can make a lot of progress on, but again, we saw what he did in Game 1. Really filled up the stat sheet with kills. Did not fill up the win column.
And that is the only thing that matters at the end of the day. You can finish a game 100-0, and if it's a loss, you don't get the LP. And right now, it is all that essential. If NIP can somehow take this series 2-0, then staring down at TES, who would then be de facto #1 in the league, is a really fun question to think about based on what we've seen from NIP thus far. Again, we may be getting our hopes up a bit too much. Take a look at this draft, though. I think both teams have the tools. It's going to get chaotic, particularly around that level 6 mark. There will be some nonsense happening, and I can't wait for it.
This is going to be bloody around the 18 to 20 minute mark. Again, both of these teams, much like in game 1 for NIP where they spike hard on 2 items, both of these teams have that really big spike, especially BLG. I think theirs is a little bit greater, has a little bit more punch to it. So once you get to see those second items coming through for your Jace, for your Akali, for your Zhao, I think that's where BLG have the opportunity to pull away from the game, and NIP are going to have to play very careful. But if they can survive that, I much prefer Lucian's later game, especially with Emilio, because you've seen what Cullings can do, but when you get that extra range on the auto attacks, it is tough to deal with. Game 2 of this best of 3 series. NIP already up 1-0 in the series, looking to make it a clean 2-0. Split 1 Gyos and split 2 Gyo difference needs to be studied. Heal already burnt from Zhuo as Knight shows up early to burn that summoner.
Does mean he is not here to protect his own jungler, though, as Nocturne is more than happy to throw down the Q and just right-click Shun, as they're going to stand here for a while. It is truly until Shun decides to leave, because you don't want to start those Raptors while the enemy jungler could come around and steal.
I'll do it again.
Knight, he's back. I mean, I said he was going to be
nice
late
dodge
here, but he's coming.
Guwon dodges, the wind becomes lightning. Kara is here, but Kara is a little late to the party. But Guwon is 2v1ing. He went a little too deep and he caught an electrocute proc. Meanwhile, on the bottom side, Assum and Zhuo looking to get as much pressure as they can. There's a lot of early skirmishing here, and Guwon will finally start up the chickens.
Incredible, taking advantage of the fact that Knight was not going to be there to push him out of the jungle, and then standing his ground as a Nocturne. This champion, when he's standing on that Q, gets a lot of AD, actually stacked up the Conqueror during that scrap.
Wow.
That does mean now that Shun is going to have to clear his blue side, not the side he wants to, because you'd want that red buff for an early gank, and presumably have to reset after for just a longsword, because if you run into the enemy red side here, it's scary.
Assum took a turret shot and a bubble. That is real bad for the NIP bot lane. A rare mistake in the young AD carry that has had so much praise here in Split.
And that might change my assessment of the jungle situation, because if you do not have... Hold on.
Oh wait, Assum. Assum's dead. The flash for flash. Viper gets first blood. Zhuo with a flash himself will be able to clean up Viper, but I don't think he's going to be able to run away from the clutches of On. It is a 2-for-1 for the BLG bot lane.
Wow, just a colossal overstep at that point. Really greeding, and it means that that whole jungle lead that Guwon had managed to establish is kind of go down the drain, because Shun is just going to get to match freely at this point. You can't go in and zone him off a camps. If Emilio walks into him, I think you just die.
Tough start for NIP after, you know, the early positioning and jockeying where things generally went pretty well for them. We'll have to see if Assum and Zhuo can right the ship, as you never want to hand a lead over to Corki. Nami flash forced out of the mid lane here is Kara with that long-range auto attack and the ability to stun every 4 spells. Gets the better of Knight for the moment.
However, what we did have on the minimap there was Assum went back to lane and then was left alone, so he lost a good amount of his HP.
A little dodge out onto the turret shot this time around, so evens things out just a little bit. Shun is lying in wait, but Guwon, as you mentioned, is covering here, expecting this play to happen.
This is a cook. This is a cook for NIP.
Yep, show me Shun flashing away. Good pathing there to break the Nocturne tether. Now we're going to look for re-engage here. Guwon down to about half HP. Kara's on the way. He is going to get here first. Shun is stunned up and goes down. It's Assum picking up his first of the game.
That is a recovery necessary for this NIP bottom lane. Corki Nami are no slouch in the lane phase. And
Assum up too far. Caught the bubble. Barrier is out and used. Now they're going to look for Viper. He's got a dash left and drops the double shot on him.
Another takes down from the NIP bot, but did they see him? I don't think they saw him.
No, they have no idea. Oh, now they have some idea. Awesome is cooked. We're burning heal for this. Do we think that we can make the turnaround on the Knight? He'll dash away, and Awesome will go down with the ship and will execute to the turret, so wasting Knight's time.
Nicely done to minimize anything from Knight there. He gets the XP from the death, but wastes a lot of his time to come down here and not get anything. I would say that was worth the heal in the end. It definitely felt weird to watch, but they must have been very confident in the timing to be able to get that execute, knowing that On was so low. If he walks up, then Awesome just gets to trade another kill for himself.
Not something you really practice, but something you just feel.
Oh, I practice it a lot. I love that skill of finding the right time to run away and execute.
That's not a good thing if you're doing that much.
No, you're not wrong.
The objective is to kill them, not die, right? Hold on. Knight is level 6, and Care will die.
So like that is what you're telling me. See, if Care had timed that out and got the execute, it wouldn't look as bad. But no, nicely done from Knight on the Akali. Kind of an immobile mage killer as far as they go, and it does mean that Care is only going to have a more and more difficult time after using that flash bot.
Awesome up in the face of Viper. They're going to get the heal out here. Shun trying to get around the corner, and the bubble onto Zhuo might be enough to take him down. He's very low, but he will manage to survive, and now Awesome wants to get as much damage as he can. Squeeze all the toothpaste out of the tube.
Crazy that out of that trade, BLG is the one that is down as summoner, but Guwon is back again. Level 5 Nocturne, once again, just going to tell Shun to back off, leave my bot lane alone, and protecting his own probes.
He gets tagged by the wind, becomes lightning. Will getting a little bit of health back as he's now hit level 4. So we have a 3v3 for the moment. Viper is also level 5. Awesome is starting to get a little low on mana, which at this point in the game makes it a little bit difficult to fight as Lucian. Dodge out of the wind, becomes lightning here. Now we might look for a turnaround onto On. He is holding that bubble, so the NIP bot lane, they're trying to keep the wave here without it crashing into the turret, but they don't have the resources to be able to do so.
And it looks like the 3v3 segment of bot lane will go on pause. Both junglers running off to take a camp. Neither will be getting over to level 6 soon, getting a sense of deja vu from game 1. Both junglers likely to just finish a camp and run straight back over. Knight has been spotted on a ward leaning bot side though. And so I think NIP are going to be a bit hesitant to do anything.
Recall's finally going to come out here. Dragon is up. That is a Hextech Dragon, so whoever fancies this may elect to go for it, but with camps on the top side spawning, it looks like it might be a little ways away before we see a Dragon. We do have Grubs in about a minute, which would be a pretty big boon for a guy like Bin, who currently has about a 300 gold lead just entirely off of CS. It is going to be hard for Hoya to really force this guy off turrets, so if you can get him that resource, it'll be big for BLG.
Okay, and this is exactly what I was waiting for. We see Zhuo is walking down mid. This will leave Awesome in a very awkward spot for the next minute or so, and he looks like he's going to bank down because of it. It's really hard to exist in this bottom lane against Corki Nami. They have so much chase down potential, particularly with Viper having double sums up. There's a real angle for a solo kill on the tower. It looks like, though, bot lanes will just take their resets, not going to pressure Awesome, and now the Grubs up in 10. Slight play happening on the top side.
Yep, Ben gonna go in on Hoya here and get as much damage as he can down. One thing to note, hold on, was Guwon is going in, he did get the Paranoia, level 6 off of the Crab, and makes the first Paranoia play of the game. Whenever that happens, you are generally very happy. Grubs to NIP.
Alright, the counterplay from BLG could be looking for a dive on this bottom lane. Knight does have Mega Prio on mid, could walk down himself as well, but will not, and it seems like NIP are just going to be happily winning. BLG not able to get much done beyond, what, tower plate? That's it, that's all we're getting off the back of this. It's definitely a rough situation, considering, as you said, it would have been so good for the side lane threat of BLG to have the Grubs, but losing those is going to make it a bit awkward as we get towards the mid game for them to really get the maximum from 1-3-1.
One thing to note, Knight has almost a full level lead on Care. It's about 80%. So when he has those spikes, when he is a level up, we really need to see him make his impact. You know, he is going to do a lot in the side lanes later on. Again, we mentioned he is going to be able to kill most members of NIP, except for maybe Hoya. So BLG just need to get to that point in the game. Remember, we did say that we're waiting for them to get on 2 items Going to be really strong. Shun is going to be Guwon. Meanwhile, we have some fighting in the bottom lane. Culling is going to get used, but it's not going to do a whole lot at this point of the game. As Guwon is going to get shoved out of his bottom side jungle. This does give BLG priority over the strike.
Without the culling as well, it's going to be
Ask. Ooh, it didn't take Bin into turret range. So a little bit more poke from Hoya. Good flash from Bin to avoid the body slam. And now Hoya's got to kite this out and wait for his abilities to come out. Shock blast. Didn't do a whole lot of damage. Hoya just waiting
3 seconds.
Here. Alcove gamer.
Rotation.
Yep, Bin will have to walk away. Has to respect the power of this Gragas.
And just going to get the Jace flash for nothing. Like, really well played from Hoya. Leveraging this Comet for the poke in lane and just the full mana maxing. Like, it's not too often that we see the Gragas top anymore, but it is still just as potent of a complete nuisance. I think that's the best way to classify Gragas top lane. He is just an S-tier nuisance that neutralizes pretty much most of the top pool that wants to get away with this kind of play plan.
Big damage on the Knight. I like that term, mana maxing. Sometimes you're minion maxing in the side lane, and other times you're mana maxing. And right now, Hoya is doing a little bit of both as he's evened up the CS gap a little bit and has a lead for himself. Going up on the top side, looking to make a second paranoia play. They're just lying in wait. He's used the hammer, and they're going to drop the hammer on this man. He is feared up. Minions are causing a bit of a problem here. This is going to take a little bit longer than I think all parties expected, but it's Guwon picking up his second of the game.
Despite throwing all of his abilities a bit too far away, Hoya will not be calling Bin too tanky after that one with the jungler just able to right-click him down. And that Hex Plate already picked up from Guwon means you do not have to wait that long before the next Paranoia play can come down. And against a 1-3-1 comp, which is what BLG have really put together here, the Nocturne being strong is not a death sentence, but damn is it close.
Big stun onto Knight. Knight has to go in because the turret was targeting him. He's going to look back for Care. Flash away. Timbers is dropped down. It ends up being a 1-for-1, and it's Care getting the kill. Culling down on the bottom side. Heal burnt here. Is On's down to half HP. Awesome once more, and you know he wants to go for it. Viper's got these empowered auto attacks right now. The dash is forward. Nice flash there. Holds his autos and takes out On, but he gets bubbled up, taking a lot of damage from Viper, trying to kite this one out, but he will run out of health, and that means that Viper should be able to pick up Zhuo. But the flash was used, and Viper's got nothing left in the tank, so it's a 1-for-1.
Literally every summoner in the bottom lane has been used off the back of that, so if I were a jungler right now, I would go, that seems like an area that we can get an advantage, particularly with Paranoia up in 8. This is definitely something I want to see both Guwon and Shun kind of just sitting here relentlessly, or potentially looking to pick up a mid laner on the walk down. Okay.
Oh, bomba! You know, it's not a kill, but it still deserves a bomba, no? Hoya is really taking it to Bin here. He's 2 levels up one.
That's crazy. He's not going to keep going, is he?
He was trying. I mean, they have put Bin in the bin in this series. I mean, we talked about it. The strategy against BLG has to be put this guy down, put as much pressure as you can on him. And when he struggles, BLG struggle. They are having a tough time versus NIP right now. Shun looking for that wind becomes lightning. Here comes the Paranoia, and he's going to follow him over the wall. An ill-advised move by the BLG jungler. Now we have a teleport coming down on the bottom side. Is Awesome is looking to run down On. Viper is in trouble. He's speared. He's splashed. He's body slammed. He's dead.
Oh, Hoya.
And it's NIP making plays everywhere.
Crazy work to get that teleport into the fog of war from the Paranoia and save his jungler. Meanwhile, on the top lane, Bin, he's going to get like 1.5 plates, but Assum is going to happily match on this side of the map, already finishing the bot quest. I don't know what the hell Shun was doing.
This is so disrespectful. What are we doing here? You're down a level. The support's there. I mean, Knight moved a little late, and you're still going. Like, I don't understand.
And then he tries to flash the wall and doesn't. I didn't notice that.
Goodness.
That's even worse.
Shun, you silly goose.
Yeah, that is the best way to put it after that series of events. And then Hoya to turn it into a positive at the end there. Really nicely done to stop Guwon going down, which also means not only does Shun die, not only does he flash, not only does he ult, Guwon then gets to eat all of his bot camps as well.
Shun fans on Twitter are going to have a field day with that one. Not looking so good for the BLG jungler. And now a very large deficit for BLG to fight out from under.
Knight.
2.4k. Knight has to ult defensively. Whenever that happens, you're never happy about it as BLG. Viper is very low. as Care and Tibbers putting in as much work as possible.
Oh.
And then the Nocturne ultimate flying from downtown as Guwon makes yet another play. We didn't have the spell shield here, so you got Tidal Wave, you got Bubbled. Shun is looking to close out on a kill here. Care is on the way, but he doesn't have a stun up. Guwon with a nice sidestep here.
Shield.
The stun is there. Guwon's desperately trying to run away, but Shun is so fast, and the bounce gets a shutdown for off.
Bit too greedy from Guwon there. The only silver lining is the Nami picking up the kill as opposed to the Xin getting him back into the game a bit. And if we take a look at the gold leads, at the items, we have Hoya on his Seraphs, about to complete that. Let's watch whatever the heck happened here. It was just Care getting a full combo, right? Yeah.
What?
That
Viper, what
that
are you doing?
I mean, if Guwon isn't nearby, that's a really silly play. But as soon as it happens, you have to realize, why would Annie just raw ult me on the tower there? Oh, I'm probably gonna die.
If as you said, if Guwon's not there, it's a really silly play. If Guwon is there, it's a really silly play. I mean, there's not much of a collegiate league scene in China as far as I know, but I think these guys went to Silly Goose University. I would know. I graduated from there.
With honors, I imagine, right?
Someone come silly, or whatever it's called.
Alrighty. Returning to our silly game.
The half HP. As this is the part of the game where NIP is going to be rather strong. Awesome still not on that 2-item mark yet. Again, we are waiting for BLG to get there as well, because they will spike there too, especially when Viper completes his tier item. Herald going to be started up here by the side of BLG. A lot of on the way pings. A couple of teleports getting used here. Care is going to show up at the top side. It's going to show up on this mid brush. Teleport coming in here. Paranoia is out. Forces the flash out of the chase. Hoya once in. Calling is down and secured by Knight. Shun, the ultimate out, is going to prevent a lot of this damage, but look at all the damage coming out from the side of NIP. Shun is going to be targeted out and goes down. Knight manages to find a kill on the Care, but he's immediately got to exit. Hold on, wait a minute. Shun's still alive. He got in the Herald, getting the robot Shinji. He's able to get out of there. Hoya is going to try to chase down Knight and Bin, but it is a successful play for BLG.
Yeah, ended up going 1 for 0 at the end, and I was really reticent for NIP to contest that fight because Guwon is, at the time, the entire gold lead for NIP and hasn't managed to get over to that stride breaker yet. So he is relatively weak compared to what he could be and how ridiculous it could be for BLG to play against. Getting the immediate pick to force Bin to flash away was fine, but I think that NIP kind of got a bit greedy when they realized that Shun was just taking the Herald without smite and thought, okay, yeah, let's all full right-click forward, and it backfired quite a bit.
I don't know how this worked out for BLG. The fight got really scattered. Let's take a look at this replay and break it down.
Hard force onto Bin at the start of it, and then you peel off here because you know that the Herald is about to be in smite range, and then as soon as it isn't smited, NIP kind of go, okay, let's send all of our cooldowns forward. And now Knight just gets to kind of walk away with the fight here, getting an incredible perfect execution on the Care, then flash out over the wall, and the Herald just causes chaos and gets the crash on the mid lane tower to take 3 plates off the end of it. So a pretty fine play for BLG overall, but if the Dragon's spawning in 2 minutes, you need to keep an eye on that next Paranoia, because Guwon wasn't able to finish the Stride Breaker still.
Yep, and the first Paranoia that was used that didn't result in a kill, and I mean, Care had a pretty good look on the Viper as well, but he used his flash ultimate there. He wasn't actually able to get the job done. So, tough stuff for NIP as now their gold lead cut in half. Viper gonna lead the charge here with On as they're starting to get really strong at. Tier is done. Tier item that Muramana not quite yet.
And this is pretty much the exact time of the game where we need to see Awesome and Zhuo get a lot done, because the solution is pretty much the cheat code for mid lane priority. The Milio puts some level of enchantment on you, it doesn't really matter which one, and then he just throws culling and suddenly you lose mid prio. That is the gameplay pattern that needs to happen if NIP are going to want to secure this dragon safely. Otherwise, we may find ourselves in another scrappy fight. I think, unlike last game, in an elongated fight, BLG aren't too upset.
Paranoia's out. We're going to look for the jungler of BLG, culling down 2. But it's another Paranoia that does not yield any success for Guwon.
Is that going to be up again before Dragon? It's going to be a very narrow window. It does give... reinforcing on the bottom lane.
Assum getting that chunk onto the turret. Meanwhile, NIP's solo laners are going to work on bot tier 1 while Knight's going to pick up top tier 1. Try to do what you can to shove off Viper, but the healing from On, the damage that he puts out is too much for Assum to deal with. So this mid turret still stands.
Alrighty, we find ourselves kind of in a bit of a... I wouldn't call this a lull state because you only got about 20 seconds before the action is about to kick off, but
we had the lull state earlier because people were doing some very silly things.
That is very true, but we should keep an eye on the summoners now so we're prepared for what silliness will come about. He's only Knight without his flash, and basically other big cooldown is available. So expect a lot of big explosive buttons to go down, particularly wherever Hoya finds an angle, because he will do a lot of damage with this Rocket Belt Seraph's combo.
Assum Zhuo stepping up, that turret still stands. Bin trying to get in as quick as he can. As NIP are going to flock to the Dragon. BLG were able to pick up the first 2 of the game, and if NIP can break the Dragon stacking, they'll be pretty happy about that. Shun is late on the map here as Guwon is soloing out this Dragon, down to about 3,000 HP. Shun showing in the mid lane here, perhaps looking for an engage onto Assum. He's fishing for one. The wind becomes lightning is not going to land. This should mean the Dragon goes to NIP, and it will without any issues whatsoever. Hoya wants a little bit more as the mid turret's going to go down, and NIP are throwing their weight around and breaking down BLG's gameplay.
And that first Paranoia, while it didn't secure any kills, it did give NIP the ability to clear out all of BLG's vision. And when we got the toggle over there, we saw that there was no flank TP for Knight. And if this Akali can't get a good flank TP, it's really awkward for Knight to exert a lot of pressure, especially with Gragas kind of just standing here with the bottom lane. He is truly just a brick wall that Knight is going to have a big problem getting through at this point in the game.
Bin still not done his tier item yet. Shun not done his second item yet either. Once those get completed, look for BLG to start making those plays and see if they can do anything. Hoya looking for a little bit of a flank here, but realizes there's really nothing doing with that. He's going to walk to the bottom side, but we see a lot of on-the-way pings. BLG is very well aware of where the NIP top laner is. Oh, he kind of caught no man's land, but the Paranoia goes out. Gonna look to break down the communication of BLG. Hoya with the flash, the bomba onto Viper, who has to flash away and is gonna get body slammed and taken down. Here comes the rest of NIP. The stun is out onto Shun. Everybody is there, and it's a double kill for Care.
And that's the thing, it's exactly what we talked about, but instead with Knight being the one that ends up TPing in, he's forced to slam the button as soon as he realizes Paranoia is about to come down. But it means he's nowhere near his team. Hoya using his, well, advantage state from Fog of War to just walk over Viper. And incredibly well done from NIP. They are taking this game by the horns. And I would be really surprised if BLG can test this Baron.
Teleport from Hoya here, just to try to keep Knight out, as the Baron is a bit slow, but it is being done. We are at 22 minutes, 22 and a half into the game. On will show up, throw down a couple wards. We have a TP coming in from Bin on the bottom side, but it is NIP who secured the Baron.
I don't think BLG quite respected how slow that Baron was going to be, because we had Bin teleport bot to get some plates, but I think if he had teleported to the Baron, there might have actually been a contest angle from BLG there, deciding to just say, right, we're going to sack the map for the next couple minutes. BLG think they're the ones doing the hunting here, collapsing on Hoya, but NIP with this Paranoia pulled the trigger expertly to just send it in with a beneficial TP position from Care. It's just completely over as soon as Hoya throws Viper backwards. What are you supposed to do? Getting bombarded over the wall from Fog of War.
Yeah, it is so tough. Again, we talked about how BLG struggles against Nocturne a lot of the times. The communication breaks down, and the chaos that is caused in these fights with the Gragas, with the Nocturne, has been too much for BLG to handle at this point in the game. It is a 4,000 gold lead for NIP, and now we need to see them utilize this Baron well to create an insurmountable lead, because if there is any team that can recover from a doomed state, it is BLG.
I mean, we nearly saw it last time. It was a Nexus defense that kept BLG holding on. They are not going to give up because the game looks tough.
Cullen goes down, gets a lot of chip damage in, but this turret is still not dead quite yet. The siege isn't really there. You've got the anti-auto attacks, but Lucian not known for his auto attack range.
No, the Milio is kind of helping that a little bit, but it's not going to be enough to really... Oh, hold on.
Paranoia is out, looking for the mid lane. Here comes Guwon! And they're going to be able to find Bin once again. 0, 3, and 1. They have shut down the BLG top laner. And now Knight feels the pressure. He wants to go up, but Hoya goes golden. Shun is here as well, looking to pick up Hoya, but they lock down Knight. Shun's going to drop that ult through that Crescent Guard, trying to defend as much as he can, as Guwon is going to finally fall. But it's Shun, who's very low. They tag up, Carry does Knight, but he's not able to go in. It's a 2-for-1 for NIP. BLG's bot lane has to come over. Now they're going to look for Care. The big stun is out, but Care gets blown up. But look what's happening on the bot side. Assum and Zhuo are using that Baron push and pushing all the right buttons.
They siege up to the inhib tower, but they aren't going to get it. Knight really thinking about it.
He went in for it. He got hit by the explosive cast. Now he really wants Hoya. Gets the buffs from On, but is not able to do more.
A really cute rocket belt from Hoya after getting the bomber to just scoot out of Knight's Q range. If he tags with one singular Q, there is an angle for Knight to just walk you down. But after that, we need to look at who is going to be able to complete their Zhonya's. Hoya not able to finish his yet, so he is actually susceptible in these plays. He may be a Gragas, but he's not actually that tanky if focused down. There was a very serious amount of time during this series of play that it looked like Hoya could just die. Didn't notice that at the start of the play because we weren't looking at it.
Oh my god, he missed everything, and it just doesn't matter because Guwon's got Paranoia. And hey, you know, to his credit, he's strong. And I think Hoya's played a really good game. That was not exactly the most flattering replay, but he has played a very nice game. Second dragon for NIP. It's the 4th dragon overall as they are stacking up these ocean troops.
God, Gragas truly is a champion where if everything hits, you just die, and if nothing hits, you still just die. It's really impressive, honestly. But no, back to the actual seriousness of it. We do have Baron. What are you doing?
When you use the summoner spell that says, hey, I call my Nocturne over.
It's a pretty powerful summoner spell. We should really get that removed. BLG should be, you know...
Crazy, right?
Let's hope we're not getting a bug report on this one. But the Baron setup, it's up in 2 minutes.
No pauses this game.
Dear God, no.
We have another Guwon ultimate here, and Bin is forced to flash again. Bin is 0, 10, and 6 in this series right now. He has not been able to get anything going. Shun, once more, his ultimate will run out, which means he'll take Culling to the face, take him down to about half HP. As Bin and Knight are trapped on an island here on this top tier 2 turret. The rest of BLG will coalesce and force NIP away.
And I feel like this is a safe time to compliment Guwon, where it's not going to caster curse him. But given how well he has been playing this game, just the fact that Nocturne is still as prevalent right now, you are at the point where this champion only gets less effective with every extra item. Even the Guardian Angel is like, it's good because it means you get to go in and die and then get back up for an objective. At this point, Guwon is not getting functionally stronger compared to all the other champions in the game, and yet he has still been able to constantly find those windows, press Paranoia basically off cooldown to make BLG be down suns.
Assum up a little bit too far, Shun coming in from the side, but a great play by Zhuo to kick Shun away, and that means Assum is able to close out the kill on Bin.
I mean, there's cheating mid-prior, and then there's doing whatever the heck that was from NIP, and they know that they have softened up this bot lane tower. Knight is looking to get on the hunt here, but what are you supposed to do? Are you going to run into the Nocturne? Then you're going to get Stride, and it's going to get really rough from here. Hoya exerting pressure, and BLG want to do something.
Just trying to step up here. I want to find Care. It's going to be Rocket Belt for Rocket Belt. We have, I think that puts us at 3 Rocket Belts, by the way.
Yep.
I think is going to have a lone time on the top tier 2.
I think this is a really rough state for BLG because while they're able to hold off the inhib towers, losing everything else on the map is going to make it so awkward to walk up and contest this Baron. The real silver lining is because they were able to secure those first 2 dragons, it does mean that there is at least 7 more minutes before NIP is threatening a soul. If they get to a soul, that whole thing about BLG being able to fight a long fight doesn't work. Look how low Assum gets off the back of this.
Look at Zhuo, look at Zhuo, boom, right there.
Beautiful.
That's the difference.
That was it. Chef's kiss, honestly. Like, it just got the job done, and it's what this bot lane is so well regarded for. We didn't really get a lot of them being the big playmakers in game 1. There was the off arrow, the off encore that did a lot of work, but that was a moment right there that we prize this bot lane for. A reason they are contesting for that top tier in the league. And if they beat BLG here, why they should have a really serious case for being, you know, MVP of the week candidates in their role.
No doubt about it, Melvin. They just need to slam the door, seal the deal right now. They're having some trouble doing so. Here's a culling down. It doesn't do a whole lot tonight. We'll be able to walk away. This Baron is up. NIP have a 6.7 thousand gold lead. 30 minutes into this game. Dragon up in a minute and 20 seconds as they inch closer and closer to Seoul. The problem is we talk about the 2-item spikes for each side, but we also talked about how we favor Aleutian as the game goes on. He's on 4 items.
Most definitely. Oh my
goodness. All right, Zhuo is still alive somehow. That Crescent Guard is going to wear off. Assum went over the wall, makes the play happen. He's a little bit worse for wear here as the rest of BLG are forced away. It's a 5v4. Let's see if NIP want to pull the trigger on the Baron, and it looks like they will.
I really thought we were about to get some night magic with that rocket belt there. It looked like he was going to go hunting to get something done. If you just let this Baron go down, you're basically saying, have the game, NIP. Do something, BLG. Find someone.
Hoya trying to stop the strong side here. Bin on the weak side, but you know he can do a little bit of damage. Hoya just trying to keep these guys out for the moment. It's going to be Baron secured for the side of NIP. Guwon flashes onto Bin. Meanwhile, we have fighting on the other side as Kara's down to about half HP. Knight is very healthy right now. It's a war on 2 fronts as we're going to see Bin teleport away. We have Hoya teleporting into the mid lane to try to cut off the rest of BLG. Knight maybe tagging up Kara, but it's Assum who gets the blow up there. Kara goes golden, so does Knight. Knight's surrounded, he flashes away, but he cannot escape the clutches
they've done
Hoya and NIP. We have a recall coming through for On. Look at the excitement on the player cams before the Durax ad comes out, because Assum knows that he's doing some illicit activities to BLG in this game. The turret will fall, the inhibitor will fall. It's On. 20 seconds for Viper, and I don't know if BLG have it in them for another miracle protection here of their Nexus. The tidal wave does nothing. BLG can do nothing as NIP shock the LPL and take a 2-0 victory over the first stand champions.
This run is not chance. This is not a coincidence. This is NIP putting together a serious case for trying to get themselves in MSI contention from the LPL. What an incredible performance in 2 very different tempo games from NIP to 2-0 BLG. Was anybody going to call that at the start of the split, the start of the week, the start of the day? I don't think so.
No, not in the slightest. Not in the slightest, Melvin. Never would have thought this would have been the result. And a really well-crafted game plan by NIP. Honestly, disrespect by BLG in that first draft to just let them have Ashe Seraphine, and it was bad from there, right? They had the early lead, but eventually that's going to catch up with you when you have to deal with tools like that. And then in this game too, Guwon with the bullying, they took advantage of Knight coming down on the bottom side, able to disrupt the BLG jungler earlier. We talk about that a lot. If he's not able to get going, BLG struggles. If Bin can't get